Friends, good morning. How are you? I am currently getting ready for the day, and I figured maybe we could get ready together. Y'all seem to enjoy a recent video I did where it was a get ready with me, but the whole time I had a themed topic of conversation, and I did controversial and untraditional things that we do in our marriage. So I like the format. I like having kind of a specific topic of conversation. It feels a little bit like a podcast, but then we can like actually get ready for the day together. So today, I thought it would be fun to talk about mistakes I've made so far in my 20s. I thought it would be fun to just kind of recap some of the lessons that I had to learn the hard way, as opposed to the easy way, which the easy way is just listening to other people's lessons that they've learned. And maybe some of these things you can learn the easy way from me learning the hard way. Side note, this is one of the last times you'll see my office like this. Starting tomorrow, I'm filming a video where I am doing like a huge office redo. There's gonna be a chair rail, there's gonna be wallpaper, there's gonna be a new light. I'm really looking forward to it. So say goodbye to the office as it is. I've never really tried with this room. I kind of just put furniture in it. Anyways, say goodbye. And lastly, a brand just sent me this. I don't know how to say this brand. Candio, perhaps? It's a tinted SPF 50. And I tried it yesterday and I really liked it. It is a little dark for my color, but I want to try it again today. I'm like, look at that. It almost is pigmented enough to just be also my foundation. But with all that being said, let's get into it. Obviously, if you've watched my channel, you've seen some like pretty big mistakes, some pretty big overarching themes, but I want to get a little more micro. I want to get into very specific little things. So some of the things in here are like just ways I've conducted myself versus like small little financial things that I wish I did differently versus like house buying things. So we touch a lot of different topics in this, and they're in no particular order. Let's start a little bit broader and how I've conducted myself in my 20s so far. And I realized a huge mistake of mine, something that I regret a ton, is just acting too serious in my 20s. The people that really know me and like who I am at my core met me before I turned 18 or met me after I kind of started breaking out of that pattern in my later 20s. But the people that met me between 20 and 25, I felt like I needed to act like a grown-up and like I needed to act serious and conduct myself a certain way. And I've realized that then I've built expectations around myself where people expect me to be the serious person when that's not who I want to be at all. I want to be silly and goofy and fun. I don't know if y'all have picked up on this, but starting, I don't know, a year or two ago, I was talking to a therapist about this actually, and just being so tired of life being so serious and people expecting me to be so serious, because it felt like if I ever did start to like be a little funny or goofy, it just wouldn't land because people wouldn't expect that from me. So I was like, I'm gonna start undoing this mistake that I did, and I'm gonna just try to be, 2% goofier or funnier or more myself with like less of such a serious tone every single month, so that by the end of a year, I'm like 24% less walls up, just slowly taking down those walls bit by bit so that it's not just a shock to everyone around me, but it's just a gradual undoing of that. And I don't know if it was me wanting to be taken seriously professionally and amongst my peers. I don't really know what it was, but I do regret being so serious. I think you can be professional without being so serious, you know what I mean? So, catch me acting less my age, more my age, but a lesser age as time goes on. Here is a very specific house buying regret. I regret using the inspector that my real estate agent recommended. I never bought a house before. I didn't know how things worked necessarily. Obviously, I'm not saying that there was foul play, but obviously real estate agents want the sale to go through. They want the house to close because that's when they get their commission, that's when they get their paycheck. So oftentimes I think real estate agents can recommend inspectors who are buddy-buddy and might sweep some things under the table. I'm not saying all real estate agents do this. In our case, there were some things that I think were purposely overlooked within our inspection of our home to make the sale go through quicker. And I wish I didn't even know that this was an option, to pay myself out of pocket to find a second inspector or just completely different inspector to see the house through an unbiased lens. Because also during inspections, that's when you have kind of like countering power as a buyer. You could say, before we finalize the sale, can you fix this, 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 and this? After the sale goes through, that's all on you. If anything pops up that you didn't know about, that's on you. Another kind of financial thing that I regret is not taking out disability insurance at a younger age. At a younger age, I took out life insurance. I actually did that at, I think, age 19, which is hilarious and ridiculous. I don't know. I was in Financial Peace University through a church, and that was one of the things that they recommended doing. And I had no spouse or dependents, but I thought, okay, I'll get a life insurance policy. And I'm really glad I did. This is a thing that I'm glad about, because later I was diagnosed with lupus and became uninsurable. Like, I wouldn't be able to get that policy today now that I have that diagnosis on my chart. But because of that, I also now can't get disability insurance. And that's something that I didn't do at that same time, because I thought, oh, I'm young. I don't even know what career I'll be in. I don't know what I was thinking, but you can be affected in any career. Even in this career that I'm in right now, it's seemingly the most flexible because I can work from home on my own schedule and make content about whatever I like. But what if I have some sort of injury to where I no longer have a speaking voice? That would make this job a lot harder. So I don't know. There's just all sorts of things that could happen in life that it's nice to be prepared for. And that is something that I waited too late on, and now I just am not qualified to get. Okay, this is a mistake that I still make. I'm still making this mistake every damn day of my life, and that is just simply saying yes to too much. Something that I am proud of about myself is I am very much a woman of my word. And I tell Jordy this all the time. Like, he's always tells me, you don't have to do that. Like, they would totally understand if you told them that you couldn't. And I always say, if I told them I couldn't at the start, that's a different story, but I told them I could, and I will follow through. Like, it is so rare I don't follow through. I basically have to be very ill to not follow through with something that I said that I would do. But because of that, I, in the moment, just quickly say yes to things all the time without actually thinking through what that will entail, what my schedule looks like that week, whatever. And then I feel like I don't want to ever back out of things because I gave my word. So I need to be slower with my yeses. This is a mistake that I am very much in the throes of. I need to be slower with my yeses. I need to find a easy phrase that I could say to buy myself more thinking time of, wow, that sounds so fun. I need to go home and I need to check my work calendar, my personal calendar, and with Jordy, and just see what we got going on that week before I commit to this. But I really hope that I can, because that sounds so much fun. Like, that's simple. Why don't I just do that? I need to start doing that. That's a big goal of mine, because I do find that in my mind, my capacity is here, but in actuality, my capacity should probably be here. A lot of things that I let slip are things for my own health, like rest and exercise and cooking myself healthy meals. And I literally have the least excuse out of anybody I know to let those things slip. Like, I have more flexibility than anyone I know. And so it's all on me. It is my fault. Okay, a mistake that I made until 4 months ago that has literally changed my life is turning off my push notifications. The mistake was having all of my notifications on all the time. I realized that having all of my notifications on was allowing anything to reach me at any point, no matter how I was feeling, no matter what I was doing. And so I made a change recently to where I just turned off push notifications on a handful of things, including actually even my email, which is crazy, but DMs and comments and emails and all these sorts of things. So now I intentionally check these things when I'm in a mental place to do so, instead of letting these things just bombard me without my consent whenever they happen to happen. And that shift of intentionality of being like, oh, let me check my comments. Oh, let me check my emails. Let me see if any work things have come through, has changed my brain. I'm no longer seeing an email come through at 9 p.m. on a Friday night that says, urgent, we need this ASAP, there's been a mistake. If I don't see it and I don't check it till Monday, is the world gonna end? No, but my weekend is going to be a lot healthier and I'll have a lot less anxiety. Our brains weren't made to have a phone in our hand all day. They really weren't. This is, only 15 years old to the human brain. We're adjusting. Huge mistake that I've gotten better at, but I still make from time to time, is avoiding confrontational conversations. Turns out avoiding confrontational conversations doesn't make them go away. Oh, that would be nice, because I love to avoid confrontation. There's a difference here though. I don't mean picking a fight with every single person that says something snarky to you. I mean if there's like a big core issue, something that bothers you with your partner or your boss or your mom or your sibling, someone important in your life, and this is like a recurring thing that weighs on you, that is heavy, that might be affecting your dynamic. Avoiding it and pushing it under the rug doesn't make it go away. And I wish I learned that sooner. Pause for eyeliner. I can't talk and do eyeliner at the same time. Obviously, I've seen the negative consequences of this within marriage, of not like pushing or asking scary questions when things seem suspicious or off. And then before you know it, you've been in a marriage for years where everything is built on lies. And that's a dramatic example, but it was the example that I had to learn from. And I will say, I think I've done a lot of good work in this category. Thanks to Jordy. He very much encourages me to say whatever I want to say, even if it's going to be less than pleasant. And oftentimes I'll tell him, hey, I'm feeling a certain way about blank, but I'm afraid to bring it up because I don't want it to hurt your feelings. And every single time, without fail, he's like, oh, please tell me. Like, let's talk about it. Let's sit down and talk about it. And it's so gracious and so receiving and so gentle. And that I think has been a great positive reinforcement for me to know that if I'm having a conversation with someone that loves me and cares for me, and I'm presenting this in a mature way, and they have maturity as well, it's going to be fine. And it's actually going to be better than never bringing it up at all, because maybe they're unknowingly doing something that's hurting my feelings, and how else would they know unless I tell them? Okay, huge mistake that I am yet again still tiptoeing my way out of. And this could get confusing because you might think, wait, this sounds like having a confrontational conversation. And it's not, it's different. It is unnecessarily feeling the need to defend yourself. This could be somebody cuts you off in traffic, looks at you, starts yelling at you. You might want to say, hey, you cut me off. You're the one that made a mistake here. Why are you yelling at me? Is doing that going to make the situation better? That person's already riled up. That person's already so mad. Are they going to say, oh, you know what? You're right. I'm so sorry. That was all my fault. No, they're clearly not in a headspace to have that type of shift. And taking that exact same principle towards anybody that you come into contact with that like doesn't know you and isn't in a place to necessarily like receive what you perceive to be the truth is just a waste of your energy to try to do so. And I think I have always thought in my mind, oh, if they could just hear me out, if they could just understand more of the full context, they would get it. You're never going to be able to explain the full context of why you're doing something you're doing to someone that doesn't know you. Trust me, I've tried many times. I've tried many times to try to like explain myself more, give more full context, give more of the picture. And I think I'm just starting to realize that that's a mistake. In a lot of ways, that's a mistake. It's just better to say, you know what, sorry, wave to the person that cut you off and say, sorry. Because sometimes there's just no winning. And recognizing that there is no winning is the most you're gonna win. A next huge mistake of my 20s is not listening to my body and just pushing through. I think, you know, in some ways it's required of you. Like, if you gotta go to work, there's so many times that I was having a lupus flare. I didn't know what it was yet. I didn't know that it was lupus, but I had a shift. I had a serving shift. I couldn't call off of it. Literally was not an option, and you have to push through. And that's fine. I mean, it's not fine. It's not great, but like that's one scenario, and in some ways that's just life, and it's hard and unfortunate. But in other ways, I will not listen to my body and push through things that don't matter. And it goes back to that saying yes. Like maybe it's literally just a social event. Maybe a next door neighbor is having a grill out and I said I would be there and I feel terrible, but I said I'm going to be there, so I'm going to be there anyways. And does that really make a difference to the next door neighbor? 40 other people are there. You know what I mean? Those types of scenarios where I ignore how I'm feeling, I got to do less of that. And I think for me, that just comes with building in more flexibility in my schedule and not committing to as much. Like I said earlier, I think I just need to be a little more gracious with my body and intuitive to how I'm feeling, the cause and effect of said things, and building in more restorative time, especially if you're someone like me who struggles with autoimmune or multiple chronic illnesses. It's just kind of essential. And I like to try to pretend as much as possible that I don't have those things and that I don't struggle with that and just live like a normal, healthy, young 20s life. But yet again, biggest lesson, ignoring things doesn't make them go away. God, I wish it did. Honestly, I think a mistake I made was getting a degree in something that I knew I probably wasn't going to use. Going into college, I thought I'm going to become an RD, a registered dietitian. My dream was to work for Whole Foods corporate. I did not want to end up in like the school or hospital system, but I did want to end up in Austin, Whole Foods corporate. I thought maybe I could be someone on the team that helps to select the products that go into the store based off of the nutritional requirements that we have as a brand. That was what I thought I wanted to do. But after my first semester, I moved to LA and I knew, actually, I think I just want to pursue entertainment, whether that's film, TV, whether that's hosting, whether that's social media. And I just thought, but I already started this degree, so it's fun, it's interesting, I'll just keep doing it. But I knew I wasn't going to go into that field. And so all of a sudden, it's kind of like a waste of resources and time, money, 4 years, to continue to pursue something that I wasn't going to use. And I don't think I would have just not done college, because I was able to pull off doing college while also pursuing entertainment and then also working a night job. So was it a lot? Yeah, I didn't sleep much, but I was young. You can get away with that then. I do wish maybe I thought a little more critically about, if I'm going to go through with getting a degree in something, what degree will help me the most in these new goals that I've decided I want to pursue. And I mentioned in a vlog recently, I kind of wish I just got like a general business degree, because when you work in entertainment, you are essentially running a business of one. Even if you just pursue traditional acting, you are still kind of, you're self-employed, you know? And every time you're self-employed, you are, having that type of knowledge is good. I don't know what else I could have gotten a degree in, but I wish I had more foundational knowledge beyond just nutrition that I could apply to the things that I'm pursuing today. A mistake that I do regret, and this is a little more vulnerable, is not fighting harder for assets in divorce. If you're going through a divorce right now, I know how tempting it is to just be like, whatever, I want the least amount of drama possible. I just want this to be done. I want this to be over. Just take whatever you want. I don't want to talk to you anymore. And that's where I was. So I let someone who shouldn't have had so much of what I work for walk away with it. And that has built a lot of like bitterness in me, I think. Now that I'm out of it, I'm like, wait, why the heck did that person get everything I worked for when they mistreated me and when they wanted to walk away from me? That makes no sense. In that moment, I had the mindset of things are things, money comes and goes. I will make more money. I just need to get out of this, which is fair. But I wish I had a little more confrontation and fought for myself a little bit more, because at the end of the day, that is so unfair that I had to basically rebuild everything I worked for mostly from scratch for something that wasn't my choice. And that's a huge regret of mine. So that's all I gotta say is, if you are in that phase right now, fight for yourself, advocate for what you fairly deserve, instead of letting someone just like take advantage of you. And then the last thing I have is, I think that I have trusted strangers too much in my 20s. And I hate that that is a mistake, because I love the beauty of trust and just assuming the best in people. I've always wanted to be the person that assumes the best in people. Like, that I think is a beautiful way to live life. That's a beautiful heart posture to have. But I have gotten myself into sticky situations by trusting people, by just trusting that people have the best of intentions, that people will do the most honest thing. Even living in LA, honestly, I got into some terrifying situations because I was trusting. There's a whole story time you can go back and watch about when I was flown to Dallas for a fake callback, and I do not know that man's intentions, but they were bad. And I was in a hotel with just him. You can go back and watch that whole story time. It's years and years old. But it was sketchy. I don't even want to think about what could have happened if I didn't break away from that man. And it's just because I was trusting of him. He offered to pick me up from the airport, to take me to the hotel for this callback that wasn't even real. I trusted my management, had it covered. I ignored red flags in my gut. That's just one of many examples like that, to where I was just trusting. I was naive, I was young, and I was trusting. And I think, I don't want to be hard and cold and bitter, but I think there's probably a healthy way to have reservations and boundaries, and not just assume the best of everyone without that tainting your heart. I'm sure that there's a healthy way somewhere in there. And I think I'm getting more to that point as I grow up. And I think that just kind of happens to everybody. I think as we see more sketchy things in our lifetime, we have a little bit more hesitation and reservation before jumping into things and doing things. And yeah, a lot of the sketchy situations I got in was because I was too trusting. So that concludes a lot of mistakes that I feel like I made in my 20s. Not all of them. Oh golly gee, I've made so many. All that to say, let me know if you enjoy this format. I do like having a more podcasty type of chatty video with a theme and a purpose, and then also getting ready together, because that's just girlhood, you know? If there's any other specific topics you would like for this format going forward, let me know, and I'll start brainstorming, dreaming and scheming, as we like to say. And with that, I'm about to go film a Meal Prep Monday video. So stay tuned for that. Sorry also that the schedule has been a little wonky this last month. Basically, I was allowed to miss 2 more uploads, and then it restarts in August, and it was use it or lose it. So I used it, and I spent intentional time with my in-laws and family. So I used my missed video uploads for that. So back to normal scheduled programming. August resets the calendar, and I have nothing on the books that will cause me to miss an upload for a while. At least as of now, unless I get sick. I love you guys. I hope you have the best rest of your day, and I will see you in another video very soon.